Hi, good morning. Nathan Goodrich, Operations Section Chief with Northwest Team 3 with your morning update for Sugarloaf fire. So if you look at the fire perimeter, the red area here, you notice still a lot of red. We haven't had an area where we felt comfortable with increasing the containment, but we're likely going to start doing that in this section here. That's been the area that we've worked the longest, and it's been coldest the longest. And in order for us to turn that line black, as we call it, you need to, there's really not a time frame, but just have subsequent days where there's no heat in that area. We've been back through it several times, and we're confident that that's going to hold. We were looking at doing that in this section the other day, and then there was some interior torching that went on in here, and we've discovered a couple of other spots over the last few days down below the line here. So again, we're not quite confident in turning those lines black. But why I say that is not all of this fire perimeter is still active and burning in an outward fashion. So we've been able to contain it along the power line here, and then where we went interior instead of going out to the roads, this is all looking really good, all the way up to this point in here. And then yesterday we were able to burn a couple of lines down from Division Mike as well as Division Alpha, and put the kind of the finishing touches on this westerly edge. And so we did have a few spots up in here when we were burning, but overall things are looking really good. And up into Mike here, this is still a little bit open. There was kind of an orange glow up there this morning with some increased activity, but it's well within our lines, and it's probably not going to be doing much more burning today than it has like it was yesterday. So overall, the rest of the perimeter, there's still some active fire over here in Indian Creek as well, and where it's been moving to the southeast, that's where it's been probably the most active. So but just kind of wanted to go over that fire perimeter a little bit, and just kind of we're looking for some of that containment, but don't believe that the entire perimeter is still actively burning and expanding. So we've been very busy for the last week or so, but particularly busy in Alpha and Mike yesterday. I talked about that burn-in in here, so that was a very critical piece to get locked in, and that kind of completes, at least from here down, that completes our strategic action for protecting all the values at risk, the close proximity private land structures, as well as everything down here in the Chumstick Plains, Chihuahua Pine, all that area here. So that was a good stroke to be able to get this taken care of today or yesterday. So folks are going to be in here holding and mopping up and securing those burns from yesterday. And as I mentioned, they're continuing to work along the lines that they have put in over the last week or so, and looking really good. Same thing up here in Mike, where they did some burning, more recently burning, and then they've got access in on this 315 road, where they put some dozers in here, and they've got a little bit of line going this way, but they're going to start going direct on this piece as best they can up the ridge there a little bit, with the old Cougar line from 2018 as their backup. So they're going to start going after this fire's edge here in Mike today. I'll jump down to the bottom of Division, or Branch 3, down to Division Whiskey. They've honestly been kind of struggling in this area, excuse me, to get some burning done and progress to the southeast, and it's certainly not from lack of trying. They've had some pretty adverse winds the last several days. They're up on this really high ridge top. You got drainages on both sides, and so the terrain-driven winds, along with just the surface winds coming out of the cold front, have just been adverse in their face, essentially, and blowing across their line. So they haven't been able to really progress down with the burning so far. Their plan today, hopefully, is to go from 160 to 156 and get this little saddle taken care of. But while they haven't been burning, they've been doing prep work all the way past Chumstick and getting this roaded section ready to go for potential burning if we have to do that in the future. Moving down to the Sierra, those resources have been working in this Mill Canyon area, Dinkelman, kind of working back and forth here between 260 and up towards Roaring Creek. And so that's going pretty well. Another day or two and they'll have that taken care of. Other containment lines have been put in down towards the Intiat and they're trying to connect all the dots and kind of stitch that together in that area. Division Quebec was our priority yesterday, similar to over here on this side. This was a very critical piece of line for getting put in. The resources were able to come up from Tillicum up the 5801 road all the way over here to the power line, and they were able to get this line in the previous shifts, and then yesterday they burned that, and so it was a successful burning along the edge of the line. And then we utilized the helicopter with plastic sphere dispenser PSD machine, and we were able to come in here and basically strip this down with strip head fire and get this all burned out in here. So this is looking really good and secure. Did have a few little issues in this drop point 42 area last night, right under the power line, and but that was taken care of. Resources have moved out here to 382. And this is all prepped, and they're keeping up with the fire as it progresses down that southeast facing slope of Roaring. Right now, we feel like it's pretty close to this section 12 area here. There's a pretty prominent ridge that we were trying to utilize with aircraft yesterday, and so I think that's kind of held up right here in this position as far as the fire growth. I will mention before I move on to the other divisions, I will mention we have some northwest winds coming in today, fairly significant, even though it's a little cloudier and maybe a few sprinkles and lower temps and higher RH. There could be potential for some fire movement with fire that's aligned with that wind. And so what we're looking at here is potential for that to come down Roaring Creek. And we have our resources down here at Ferris, all up and down the Iniat, resources here up on top, and also the Sierra folks, poised and ready for any kind of action that might need to be taken in that area. But we just recognize that there is some open fire line here and also in Sourdough and the upper part of Roaring that could be affected by those winds today coming out of the northwest. So we're being mindful of that. One thing I will also mention, and not to be an alarmist or anything, but we do have a management action point that runs about right through here at 382, and we're very aware of the actions that would precipitate if we do implement that or the fire gets to that point. But that would be elevated evacuation levels for the Iniat area, but we'll be well out in front of that and notify folks in the county if it gets to that point. And we think that we should recommend going to different levels. But again, at this time, there's no elevation in evacuation levels. The fire's well back from that management action point. Moving up into Oscar, they've been holding off on doing any burning up in here just with the alignment of this drainage with the potential winds that are coming in. So they've been prepping and getting this all ready to go, and likely start doing that tomorrow, continuing to pull this down on our primary line and just keep moving down, compartmentalizing down to Tillicum on that side. Mopping up and securing up here in the top. And both structure groups are poised on both sides, Chumpstick as well as Iniat, to be there for any kind of potential structure protection and continuing structure assessments. One thing we talked about today in our briefing was just to continue to be persistent in our actions and continue to work our plan, and that's continuing to hold these critical pieces of line in Alpha and Mike and over here in Quebec, and protect those values at risk on both sides of the fire. So resources are out there working hard for you, and expect a good day. Weather change, but expect a good day out there on the ground. That's your morning update. Thanks.